So, Cassandra, how are you?
I'm great, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. I have Cassandra from Beads to Live By here today. And right before we're going to go live, I said, wait a minute, what is this fabulous thing that you're wearing on your neck? But then I said, oh, hold on, I'll go live and then everybody else can admire it too.
So I always feel like when we're getting ready to go live and we are having these like awesome conversations that it's like people are walking into the middle of like an inside joke or something, right?
Totally. What is
So
even?
this is a design by Sherry Serafini that I substituted a bunch of beads and made my own color combination, but it was the very first class I took on my very first bead cruise back in 2019.
Oh, I love that. Is it stitched onto something?
It is. It's bead embroidery. We have a lot of bead embroidery artists that we work with, and like Kinga Nichols or Anna Listas have taught for us in the past. And meeting Sherry was one of those moments. I'm sure there's people in the industry that you feel this way about, that it was like the first person I'd ever met that I felt was like famous. And I was like a kid meeting like a rock star or something. And it was just the coolest thing.
Well, judging from that necklace, she is an absolute rock star. So really cool. So very first piece you ever made. I love that you're wearing that today. I was talking about yesterday how beads carry a story. And sometimes you look at them and remember things or places or people. And today, everybody, I have been wrapping up jewelry to give to all of you. Next week, in honor of my birthday, we will be doing a sale. And if you spend so much, they're going to pop one of my jewelry designs into your order. And so today, all afternoon, I've been going through jewelry piece after jewelry piece. And I was telling Cassandra that it's almost like an old photo album because I look at each piece and remember, where I was, who gave me the beads, what was it in a book? Was it in a magazine? Was it taught at a bead show? All those really special memories. So I am wrapping up lots and lots of jewelry. I might even show you a few pieces at the end if you stick around to the end of the show today. And it's going to be a really nice sale. So I hope you'll take advantage of that next week. It starts next Wednesday on my birthday, May 17th. So I hope you guys will enjoy all the little bits that I will be sending out. Today, we've got Cassandra here because she's going to show us a really brilliant bracelet. Let me close in on that, Cassandra.
Well, and it's a hard one to photograph or show in a photograph entirely because there's so much dimension to it.
Mm-hmm.
But the general design is you are stringing a set of beads on the soft flex beading wire, and then we're going to use the craft wire to embellish that, and it gives it a bit of a cuff-like rigidity because the craft wire holds it in, more of a bracelet shape.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm going to go and get going. Go ahead and open your stuff up and get going.
Okay.
Go check on my doggie because I think the kids went to the park and she's a little stressed about it.
Aw, I can completely understand that situation.
The doggy stress situation. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, how's everybody doing? Hi, Robin. I know it's so sweet of Sarah to share her jewelry with the rest of us for her birthday, right? That's just so her. Thank you so much, Sue. I'm glad you like the bracelet. So I'll go over the beads and the products we're using. First of all, you are going to want some soft flex beading wire in the medium size to the 0.019. And I have got this chrysoprase color, which is a really beautiful shade of like kind of lime green, which goes with some things. For those of you that haven't joined us before, Becky Foster, that's the perfect lead into the thing I was going to talk about, the fact that these are part of our curated collection. So we've got these pyramid beads, or you can also call them stud beads, and they are like the little studs you would see on your clothing or jewelry. And all of these are 2-hole beads in the check glass that we're using today. And our curated collections are part of a subscription that Becky happens to subscribe to. So she's really excited, I think, to see the colors this month. We've got, thanks for that, Softflex Magic Workers in the background highlighting our page link there. So you can order our previous subscription colors on, it looks like the same link that they shared, but then you also can sign up. These colors that I'm using today are part of the colors that you would receive, and the deliveries start shipping on May 18th. So you would not get your delivery until after May 18th. But as long as you subscribe before the 18th on the 17th or earlier, you would receive your May colors. So I'm working with 3 different color seed beads. The subscriptions in the seed beads include 8 different colors in total. So you guys are getting like a special preview that every month it's a surprise, the colors I've put together. And then the tiles and the pyramids or studs are part of a 5-piece collection that you would receive if you're subscribing to the 2-hole beads. If you sign up for both at the same time, then you are going to receive those in the same shipment. So you only pay shipping for 1 order every month. And that is, one advantage. And then some of the other things we offer are a fire polish bundle, which includes 8 different strands for usually like $13.50. And it's 3 and 4 millimeters. So I use those a lot anyways, and purposely try to use them in projects every month with our other curated collections. That's an add-on companion bundle that we call it. So you can, once I list those, add those to your order from the 10th to the 17th of the month that we're delivering in, and you will get that added to your order for no additional shipping charges.
So what colors do I have here?
So Sarah, I actually curated, it's a curated collection. So
Curated?
I specifically curated a collection out of the curated collections for you. So this is a mix of multiple months of our seed beads and 2-hole beads and fire polish. So you got an extra special set of beads that were picked out from like 3 different months, I think.
They look great. I'm excited to break it open. So what are you doing right now?
So I am not on camera. Oh, there we go. I was like, I'm not on camera. That's why I wasn't describing it. So I have about 2 feet of my beading wire here and my button, which I haven't gotten to yet. You can use any size button within reason. This is a hold it so you guys can see it. This is a TierraCast button that I believe we have listed as like a little findings bundle on our website, but you guys carry lots of TierraCast findings. Do you have also some of their buttons listed, Sarah? I think so, guys. I think she had to go off mic for a minute, but yeah, so this is our little bumblebee honey. I don't know how they listed. I think it might be honeybee, but it's a honeybee button from TierraCast, and the shank is there is a shank instead of having the holes, which is helpful with this design. But I've got that 2 feet of the beading wire, which is like overkill, but I like to have extra. And I'm going to string the button in the middle, and then I put like 5 seed beads on either side of the button. And depending on what color of bead you're using, you may or may not have them slide through the button, but that's fine because it's just, even if it's floating over your beads, it's not a problem. And then once we
show me the design again so I can choose what color I put there out of the 3 that I have.
Yes. So this bead
end.
that we're using, Sarah, right now is going to be kind of under your button, and then at the end of
the end,
yeah. So it will show some, but then in between your beads on the bracelet, it's not going to show a lot because you end up wrapping over that a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to do the lightest color, I think. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
No, that's such a good question. I'm glad that you think to ask things like that because, you know, with 8 different colors to choose from in the collection, lots of other people will have those same kinds of quandaries, I bet. So once I've got the button and the seed beads on, I'm going to double that other end of my cord, and I'm going to slide my 2x2 crimp over it. And I'm mixing metals today. I've got all these crazy, awesome, bright, summery colors. Like we're just jumping in head first. So once you've got that crimp bead, now something you have to kind of be a little bit careful of is when you're using the crimping tools, especially the magic crimper, you want to leave yourself a little extra space next to your seed beads. If you catch those seed beads with the edge of your magic crimper, you will break them like I'm trying to do right now. So I'm just going to slide that down a little bit. If you have a little extra wiggle room beside your crimp bead, it's not the end of the world. But if you start busting beads, you're probably not going to be very happy with yourself. And if you have any tips on that, Sarah, as far as using the magic crimper next to more delicate beads, we are all ears.
Yeah, I kind of like that you can close the crimping plier over the crimp. And maybe I'll show this if I can find my crimping pliers. And then slide it closer after.
Oh, that is a great
show.
I knew you'd have a solution. Like you don't have to leave the beads.
It doesn't always work great, but we'll see if it works today. So here's mine that I'm working on, and I strung my little seed beads, and then you can back this up just a little bit, the crimp, and just don't compress, but just close down slightly over the crimp and then slide it as close as you can get, and then go ahead and compress. And that's going to automatically give that little bit of space. So when you turn on the side, you're going to have that built-in space to be able to go around the whole thing. And then just be slow and calculated. You know, you don't want to be really hard on it because you could still pinch one of those little glass beads. And it won't be the end of the world if you do. It'll just break off and it'll be uneven, but you know, it'll be okay. It
will be okay. And I really love with designs like this, the fact that you guys have such awesome colors in the beading wire, because it's just not the end of the world that the wire shows some, because it's, you know, if you coordinate it well with your beads, that's just part of the process. So. All right, we've got 2 more beads on each side of our wire here. And that is so that we've got some space between our button, that singular spot where the crimp bead is existing, and then we're transitioning to a 2-hole bead.
How many seed beads did you do?
2 on each side.
Okay, you got ahead of me because I was showing that.
Sorry.
Okay, 2 on each side. I got it.
And then the first bead I add is my tile, which is the flat 2-hole bead. And then once you do that, you're only adding a singular bead on each side before you add the next bead, which the stud or the pyramid has a top and a bottom. So you can do it either direction to start, but then you have to be consistent with which way it points.
I noticed that my 2-hole bead is also different colors depending on which side you have. So that may be another
tile. Yeah, the finish.
To think about.
So Sarah, you could talk a little bit about, you just got to see some of the like insider view of the beading industry and the tour that you guys
Oh,
did
that was
live
neat.
with the factory, right? And talked about the color application and things like that a little bit.
Yeah, that was really neat. Let me see yours before I get talking so I can
Oh,
make
okay. So it's
and then I'll
other,
start happily talk away.
every other bead in the 2-hole beads.
Where
And
does the fire polish come in? Is
that's
that
for
what
the
wraps around it?
embellishment.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Yes, we got to take a tour in the Czech Republic with John Kubrick, who I hear you will be traveling with this fall.
Very excited about that.
What are the dates for your trip?
Oh gosh. So, I want to say that the official dates are the 19th of October through the 28th, or somewhere really close to that, because we are leaving at least a date earlier than the official dates of the trip are. So I always go back and forth in my head about which is the right date.
Yeah.
So it's like the 18th or the 19th through the 28th. And we'll spend,
so exciting.
Oh my gosh. And you guys, Prague is one of my favorite cities on earth. It's such a beautiful European city, and the people are so friendly, and the food and drinks are so reasonable. And you are just getting like this top-notch travel experience. It was the first trip I had ever taken to Europe where I had like a guided tour aspect to it. All the other times I had just been either like floundering with like myself and my husband and our friends, or like in high school, it was like the guy I was dating was living over there abroad for a year. So I was just reliant on some 19-year-old to, try to, show me around with like broken German. And so this is a really amazing experience, especially for the price, I think. I mean, I'm big on value. It's something I try to provide my customers with a lot of the products we carry too. And it's just like, if you can get a good deal and an amazing experience, I think it's like the best thing in the world. So,
well, I look forward to seeing you there. It was really fun to tour one of the factories, one of the many factories that I know you guys tour when you go over there. And I am definitely angling to go on one of these trips too. So everybody be prepared for me to announce at some point that I will also be going to Prague because I am dying to go.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, it's just the best thing. And I mean, I know there's different dates and options, but oh my gosh, I would absolutely love to get to see you there.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I wanted to ask you, are you going to Bead Fest? It's closer to you than most of the other bead shows are.
It is closer to us. It's still, I think, over 5 hours away by car because of our Great Lakes being right in between us and Wisconsin. So,
it's actually Pennsylvania I was thinking of.
Okay. Yes. So that's like
I guess it's closer than Tucson, which is the other place I've been going.
Yeah. The Pennsylvania one's like an 8.5-hour drive. When I went as a vendor, because I don't travel to like sell our product or do that kind of thing a lot, it took a lot out of me. It was 3 days of, displaying at the show and getting there and back and all that. And Chris is so supportive. My husband, he went with me and was my like
muscle.
My muscle, my booth babe. And it was an amazing experience. We really enjoyed ourselves, but it was a lot, because then like we have to either find help for the store or shut things down and yada yada. So we aren't going, but the one in Wisconsin is closer to us. And to be honest, I felt like I was living under a rock when I saw somebody talk about it online recently, because it hadn't really been on my radar that it was happening there so close to us. So I plan to look into that in the future because that's close enough that it might be, you know, a little easier trip.
Yeah. What size are these tile beads? We have someone asking.
So both the tiles and the studs are a 6 millimeter square. As opposed to, I know why they're asking. There's like 12 millimeter tile beads, the chunkier ones.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's the studs, I think. I don't know about the tiles if there's a thicker one like that, but yeah, these are a 6 millimeter.
Well, I'm going to Bead Fest in Pennsylvania, but I'm just going to hang out, not to be a vendor.
Oh.
I got invited to do the Beads of Courage event there, and I love supporting them. So I'll be teaching a class with Beads of Courage, and then I don't know, I might do some make it tickets, or I might take some classes and just kind of, you know, enjoy the bead show vibe, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
That sounds fantastic. We have had the privilege of doing some things for Beads of Courage off and on over the years, and I think it's just absolutely the coolest organization. That's so fun. I'm excited to see what all you guys do while you're there together.
Yeah, and Kristen just happens to be going to New York with her family the week before, so I think she's going to train down to me and then
oh my gosh,
fly home from there. So we'll get to have a little bit of a buddy time too, which is always fun.
Yeah, you guys are making up for lost time this year,
We
aren't you?
are, yeah. Now we just can't get enough of each other.
I don't blame you. It's one of those things. Our friend Heather Powers is visiting next weekend on the 20th at our shop in person. And she and I are just like little kids that keep like messaging each other about how excited we are to see one another.
She is such an inspiration. Her artwork in every facet, whether it's on paper or it's in clay, she just makes the most beautiful things. So, I mean, who would not be excited to go hang out with her?
Agreed, 100%.
That's wonderful. I'm really glad. So, is she coming to you or are you going to her?
She's coming to me. So last year I took 2 days. We live less than 2 hours away from one another in Michigan. And I took 2 days. And this is the first time I've ever taken, well, I've visited other girlfriends, but it had been a long time. And I went and stayed in a bed and breakfast. And she lives in a coastal community off of Lake Michigan. So we went to the edge of the beach and hung out and just enjoyed each other's company. And it's got a great her downtown is super cute with some fun restaurants. And I love her whole family, her kids, and Jess, her husband, are just like the dearest people to me. So that was really fun to get to spend time together that way. But she's coming to me this time and doing a huge trunk show with us. And our mutual friend John actually sent me a message to let me know that he had brought back some extra things from the Czech Republic with him that were brand new. So he is bringing that to us too the same weekend.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Ooh. We are using Softlex beading wire right now in a medium diameter. So it is our 49 strand medium, and I'm using purple. And which color were you using over there?
I've got the chrysoprase.
Okay. So, and Cassandra is using the chrysoprase. It comes in lots of different colors, so you can match your color to your beads. And like Cassandra said, if it peeks out a little bit, it kind of just looks like part of the design, which is really lovely. I think I got that answered. Well, that sounds like a really low trip. I'm very jealous. You guys traveled together a lot for the bead cruise too. So now that she's no longer doing the bead cruise, I bet that's nice to be able to touch base and get together.
Yeah, I would be heartbroken if we didn't live within driving distance of one another, because getting to see each other annually at the very least, but also outside of that was really a lot. It meant a lot to me. So I'm grateful she's nearby.
Yeah. Well, I will be very excited to see pictures from that, and then also from Prague this coming fall, but we'll definitely be talking lots before that.
Yes. And
is it before Customer Appreciation Week or after? How does that, is that?
It's after. It's after.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Because you are on board for Customer Appreciation Week. So
yes. And Customer Appreciation Week falls at least a month, I think, or almost a month before the trip. Otherwise, that would have been.
But Customer Appreciation Week is in September. I thought you said you were going in September. Is the trip in October?
The trip's in October, yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes me feel better. I just got it all confused.
I almost just shot my fizzy soda out of my nose, Sarah. That makes me feel better.
We have plans, you guys. Customer Appreciation Week is going to be really awesome this year. And all of our presenters who were last year are going to be back, which is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a really good week. So, and I can't miss Miss Cassandra. So that's where you get that kind of reaction.
Would break my heart to not participate with you guys as much as I can, because I really enjoy spending time. And gosh, the group you guys assemble for CAW is so fun too.
Mm-hmm. It's really great. Hey, how long do I make this?
I was just about to cover that because it shocked me how quickly I got through this part compared to my first round. I don't know. I was working at a snail's pace when I made my first one. I didn't know if I'd be able to get to the embellishment part in the video. I thought it was going to take so long.
Thomas, can you peek on the calendar and post the dates for Customer Appreciation Week in September?
So I have 10 of those stud beads with tiles at each end. So 11 tiles, I think that would make it. And that's the length that I needed for my wrist size. I would tell people that you want, when you wrap this around your wrist, the very end of this portion needs to not be any further away from your button than at that spot, because we're going to put our crimp bead on and then create the button loop with seed beads on this wire and then finish our ends off. And if it's any shorter than that, when it comes around your wrist comfortably, it won't clasp properly when you're finishing it off.
Okay, so let's test mine and see if it looks right. So I've got my wrist, I've got my beadwork.
Look at you. There you go.
Does that look right?
Yep, because then you'll put 2 seed beads on and crimp those wires before you even start to make the button loop. So you've got a comfortable amount of space there.
All right, so 2 more seed beads and a crimp.
Yes, and then the crimp is going to go over both of your strands the same way we did the start of the bracelet. I love some symmetry when it comes to that stuff.
I'm really liking this bracelet, but I'm still going to wrap it up and send it out to one of you next week. Oh, and I wanted to say about the jewelry that I'm sending. I understand that some of the bracelets may not fit you perfectly. Also, it may not be your style. There's lots of different styles of jewelry. Please, 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 if you do not love the piece of jewelry that I send to you, use it as a gift for someone you know who will love it. I would love to have all the jewelry go out to someone who's going to really enjoy it and wear it. And yeah, it's a gift, just like any gift. And if you need to re-gift it, that's totally okay with me.
You are the kindest gifter I've ever heard talk about that, Sarah, because I know most people would not be very appreciative of a re-gifting of their gift. That's very thoughtful of you to say.
Am I crimping the crimp?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, good. I just already started crimping. Then I was like, ooh, wait a minute.
No, I did it without saying anything and was just going to wait until it made sense to talk about it. But that crimp bead is crimped at the spot where the strands meet again. And then I am stringing seed beads onto either side of my wire now. And the length of that seed bead strand on each side needs to be able to be crimped on the other end and then comfortably fit over your button. So this is like we're creating the button loop out of this. And it would be different for each person because each button, unless you're using the exact same buttons we're using, would be different in size.
And these are size 11 seed beads.
They are, yep.
You know, I might even have enough here to make one for me and one for you. So maybe I can put one in a gift file and then still keep one for myself. Because, you know,
yeah,
I don't have
either
enough.
of your strands of that's a great point. Either one of those strands of the 2-hole beads should be plenty for 2 bracelets in this design. So
yeah, you can make yourself a bracelet and a buddy bracelet.
Bonus.
How many seed beads are you putting, do you think?
So this particular color to fit my button size, I might not even have the same amount on each strand, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you didn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, I've got like about 14 there.
Okay.
And everybody should note that when you're stringing those beads and then adding your other crimp bead, as you can see, they're not going to come all the way to your crimp bead. So, you know, like you're going to have more length in that buttonhole than what just the seed beads take up, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, friend. We were just talking about you.
Her ears must have been burning.
We were just talking about Bead Fest in Pennsylvania and how we're attempting to go, hopefully. Kristen just had her 20th anniversary this week, Cassandra. Can you believe that?
I saw that and I was in absolute awe because in that amount of time I have worked for a different bead store prior to us opening ours. And then in between those two things happening, I worked for 2 other businesses.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to find my way through the adult work career life.
Yes. Whenever I tell people I've worked somewhere this long, they all think I'm nuts. But
yeah, no, once
they ask what I do, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, I get it now." Yeah.
So, Kristen, you can tell me, maybe weigh in on this a little bit. For me, I don't mind leaving the ends raw, like just giving them a little trim there. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. But I did this little flare at the ends of the first one where I added a few seed beads on each side. And then I wrapped the wire back into the crimp beads after I added one more seed bead so that there was no like end on it.
Yeah, so it was gentle and it wasn't scratchy.
So I'll show people how to do that just for the sake of like demoing it, but then, you know that you don't have to do this if you would rather just like
cut it
have
off.
Your ends flailing in the wind.
Yeah.
And I did not the same amount of beads on each strand too, because I'm a rebel without a cause.
Oh, Cassandra.
us artists, right? What are you going to do with us?
Right? Because I will do it how I want to do it.
So I've got 2 seed beads on one side, 3 seed beads on the other. I threw in my like different colors, and then I've got the crimp beads on. Thank you, Kristen. That was kind of my idea, was some of my designs that I've used raw edges on the wire people are like, how can I alleviate the, whole scratchy
Some
situation?
people
So
have very sensitive skin. I have 2 family members that have extremely sensitive skin, and then the others don't care as much.
yeah, I think I have a pretty high threshold for like pain, and it depends on like what area of my body too, like neck versus arm versus ears.
Mhm.
So I took that wire after I put one more bead on, one more seed bead, and I went back down through my crimp bead. And this is where you're really going to have to be careful to not crush any crimp beads, and you're going to have a little extra wire showing. But
Yeah, I'm going to show you. I did mine with just 1 seed bead, and I think it was pretty good. I'll show you how I ended up doing it once I get trimmed here.
yeah.
So I did this.
Oh, that's cute.
Just
See,
letting the little wire show, but then also giving it that little seed bead end so that it's a little.
it looks like a little antenna on a cute little butterfly.
Oh, it does.
I love
Oh, next I'll be making butterflies. It's like a butterfly body now.
it. These dual beads would be really good for the body, and then you could go off the edges with.
Wings. Yeah, cute. So there's always different ways of doing things. Feel free to always adapt your project, whatever works for you. And all the beads we're using today are from Beads to Live By. This little button, I don't know if do you carry this button? The celestial?
I haven't previously, and I was sitting here asking myself,
It's a
kind
little
of
antenna.
questioning my life choices.
It's my favorite button. Both Kristen and I use it like obsessively. Everyone's probably like, oh, there's that button again.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If people question that, then you don't need that negativity in your life, Sarah.
It goes with everything. I swear, it's so good. And it comes in copper and gold and silver. We have some of them on our website if you want some. I suggest just having a bunch laying around because I use it all the time. So here is where it's at. We're going to add another step though. So stick around to see how we're going to add a little more texture and interest to this design.
And if people are not very comfortable with craft wire, or they're, really happy with just stringing some beads on your wire, which always looks great, I think doing things like this where you add 2 different types of beads and give them a little breathing room really is, it's like just that extra kind of design element that you can do, as opposed to just putting one kind of bead like the tile or the stud all the way around your bracelet. So definitely, I mean, especially with that little button and the little fringe on the end, a great little bracelet all by itself.
Cute. Very cute.
So I'm going to try to work with my 2 feet of this is a 24 gauge, and my labels all fall off of my wire. Sarah, do you guys?
You told me 22 gauge at the beginning. Is it 24?
Yeah, sorry, it's 24 gauge. I listed the supplies in the group, but I probably was.
So the supplies are listed in the event?
Yes, in the event.
Okay, so everybody take note. If you want a supply list, you can go to the Softflex company page and go to the events and look for this event. I'm sure when they do the blog post afterwards, they always do a really nice blog post for every design we show. They'll probably grab that list and put it there as well.
Perfect. But this is that like antique brass, antique bronze color.
Probably.
I'm like, I just can't think what the specific name is for it. But because I was already mixing like more of a gold with some, those studs have silver on them. I just wanted to like continue to mix the metals a little bit to deepen the metal combinations with all that. So
How many feet? You said 2 feet, like the wire?
yep. So I ended up using the 2 feet for more than the first half of the bracelet with this
Okay.
embellishment, and then had to still add more. I just won't work with any more than that at one time because it gets really cumbersome and your wire might, get brittle or break if you're bending it around too much.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to try to move my little bead tray out of the way a bit because I think working a little lower might be easier too. But the way that I like to start most of my wire wrapping, if I've got like a kind of a coiling technique going on, is I hold a short piece off of my work and then wrap that part around a few times wherever I'm starting. And for this bracelet, I'm starting between that first tile, and I happen to be at the button end, and the stud. So you're going to cover up a lot of those seed beads in the base of the bracelet, but that's okay because you can add those in the embellishment part.
Okay. So we're wrapping around once.
I went around 2 to 3 times just to get a good start with that short end.
And it's kind of an oval shape that we're making over the top of the seed beads.
Right, because you're working around that portion of
And it's kind of a messy wrap, right?
Definitely. You do not need to try to be perfect with this.
Okay, great.
And then I'm going to show you guys the finished one just because that is, you're getting a little bit more wire in that spot versus the rest of this. But we're embellishing it. We're going to add a fire polish on top here, and I'll show you that part now.
Okay.
And that is going to cover up, your wire in that portion. So I'm going to trim off that tail after I complete those 2 to 3 wraps. And you just want to keep that like down where you're going to cover it up with this longer piece. And then once you get your longer piece, you want to kind of give that 1 or 2 wraps as well, just to get going.
Okay.
And then you want to be angled so that you are on the top of your bracelet, which is dictated by those stud or pyramid beads. You're going to be wanting to come off the top to add this fire polish here.
Okay.
And it's a little bit fussy at first comparatively to when you get through a few steps in the bracelet, Sarah, because you've got that like flexible beading wire underneath, and then, you're going to add the stiffer wire on top. So like my beads or my, bottom side of the bracelet's kind of flopping around on me.
So the first bead is a fire polish.
Yep. So that's a 3mm fire polish for everybody that's paying attention.
Okay,
or
great.
keeping track rather. And you're going to take that piece of wire, and I would give it 1 more wrap in the same place before you try to go anywhere with it. So you're bringing it all the way around that pyramid or stud again. But you're going to be between, that last wrap is going to come between the pyramid and the 3mm.
Yeah.
Now, this is the part that I'll have to switch back and forth a little bit to show on camera. You're going to add maybe 5 or 6 beads at a time. It really, and this is your seed beads in the size 11. It's really going to depend on the size of the beads and how your wrap is sitting, because this is going to lay along the side of the pyramid in order to get to the next portion of your wrapping. So we're going to bring those down, and they're going to
How many did you use there? That's 6.
I've got, looks like 5 here.
Okay.
And when I bring it around, my test is that they're going to lay, and it looks like I've got those on, and even though it looks like the fire polish are on the same wire, that's actually put on separately. So
Okay.
you're gonna basically manhandle your beads to get them to stay on the
Woman
side.
handle, you mean?
What was that?
Woman handle.
Woman handle, exactly. So you have to hold those in place so that they stay beside the pyramid. And then your wire goes across the top of the bracelet again, and it's going to sit between the pyramid and the tile. And then once you get those like kind of hooked into place that way, your wire's coming underneath of the bracelet, and you're going to grab one of the 3mm fire polish and bring that down.
I see. But we're over the top of those little seed beads again.
It's gonna, yep, the seed beads that are in that first strand with your beading wire. You're gonna sit on top of that.
Okay. Okay.
And you can do however many wraps in those places, secure your beads and make you comfortable. You can do, like a couple after you do the fire polish. I usually feel like I have to do that many to get it to lay right. And then for me to get to the next position beside the next stud, I'm going across the top of my tile. That was my decision, but you could still work along the side if you're like, I really want to be able to see that whole tile bead.
Do you seed bead over the top of the tile?
Yeah, for me, that's my preference, because I just think it's a little easier for it to all stay in place that way.
Did you do the same pattern, the 5 beads?
So I did not do the same pattern every time, and it kind of changes from 5 to 6 depending on the distance. So I've got my beads on here, and I bring my beads down and test how far they'll cover, my work. And then after that, I go ahead and start wrapping if I feel like I've got enough there. And again, that wrap is you're holding those beads in place while you bring that wrap around the edge of the stud once or twice. And then I'm going to throw another 3mm on here, because every time I get to the edge of one of my pyramid stud beads, I am going to bring, I think I've been adding, yeah. I was like, I have to double check my first one to make sure that's accurate. So that purpose, or the purpose of that bead for me, is to just like cover a little bit of my wire wrapping that I am not at all, doing a neat and tidy job of working along the bracelet. Oh, look at your beautiful bracelet, Sarah.
So is that looking sort of along the line?
It looks exactly like what I'm trying to construct. Yay.
Oh, good. I might mute myself because my neighbor is getting their roof done suddenly today. And I don't know, they seem to be working close by here. So if it gets too loud and I go silent, that's why. I've got dogs barking, I've got roof being done, kids coming home from the park. It's mayhem over here.
Well, I will tell you, I mean, unless you've been muting and unmuting constantly, I have not been able to hear that background noise.
Oh, good. I am so glad. It's nonstop when you have a family and you're working at home. It's just.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Happening.
So I'm just bringing that set of seed beads around the side of my stud to get to my next spot here. I'm really glad that I ended up choosing this darker wire. Truth be told, I went to reach for gold in the 24 gauge and don't think I have any at home with me.
Oh, yes.
And so that was part of the reason I chose the other darker color. But I really think that this antique
works.
version. Yeah, because those beads, my tiles every so often have such a bright, like kind of gold, yellow reflective color to them that I think the regular gold would have been too much in this particular setting. And I love bright gold, so it's not because I have a, vendetta against it.
Well, I just love this idea of embellishing on top of it. It's really, really fun.
I am trying to remember what my original idea was, because this was a like kind of derivation of that situation. Ooh, guys, I just found this is gonna be fun. We get to talk about this. Everybody see what happened here?
Oh, what happened?
So
You missed a seed bead.
I missed a seed bead on one side. So my
Oh
bracelet has
gosh.
like
I'm like, should I check? Did I get all mine?
kink to it.
Oh, I feel this bracelet is really stiffening up now. That's interesting.
Yeah, so you
Seems
will
like
want you will want to shape it in like a round shape, and then you'll want to let it continue to sit in that like wrist shape, because you will not want to like flatten it out every time you take it off, or you might like overwork the wire just from like wear and tear.
Right. That makes sense. Okay.
I can't wait to see what other colors people
End up making.
do this kind of thing with, and if they have like other types of 2-hole beads at home that they kind of sub in and kind of get creative with it.
I just love, I am so thankful. I know that Facebook has a million people that don't always love it, but for me, my feed is full of beautiful jewelry making and crafting projects. And my very favorite thing is having a Facebook group where I can go and see what everyone's making with our beads and our wire and the projects that we share. Like it really, really has made my life so much better. Because before we would just send everything out in the world and not, I mean, every once in a while you'd get a picture back in email, or somebody would stop by at the bead show and show you what they made. But most of the time you'd have no clue what everybody's making with all the parts and pieces. And it's so lovely to see.
I think that's such a great point, Sarah. And it's definitely the reason we started. We have a group called Beads in Progress where our customers can share things they're working on, either with our products or classes or examples we've given.
Do you have a Facebook group?
We do.
I've never heard that before.
I can't believe that I haven't shared that with you and Kristen. That's really silly on my part. But yeah, it's called Beads in Progress. It's through Beads to Live By. And the whole reason I started it, and it explains it in the like intro to the group, that in our classes, because we started off as an in-person business, not an online business, and we always got so much feedback from people that they were so happy to see the color combinations of what other people are doing, or any like design pieces they made. And so we started that group because we were like, gosh, we're really missing that in our, online demos that we're doing. There's just no place where people could collectively go and share that information with our rest of our like friends and customers online. So
totally. Yeah. I'm going to join.
Yay.
I'm here. If I have time between my 4 softball games this week.
4 softball games. How many children do you have in softball, Sarah?
2.
How does that make sense? They're so little.
No, it's too much. It's too much for this mama.
Well, yeah, and for the parents. Holy cow.
Yeah, no, they're making up games from when it was raining. So, and its season ends next week. So Hazel's last game is Saturday. and that'll be good. And then Evelyn has playoffs, but I think it's sudden death. So it just depends on how well her team does. And her team's pretty good. So I was like, please don't let me have to go to a softball game on my birthday.
Well, and sudden death, that sounds so intense. Oh my goodness.
I know, yeah. That is a very intense term, isn't it?
It feels intense. How old are your girls?
Evelyn's 8 and Hazel's 7.
Yeah, that sounds intense.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Even though I'm not like completely running out of wire yet, I'm going to show you guys how to stop and start wire on this, because that way that's like all the information you need to be able to finish this bracelet.
Okay. Ooh, it is coming together so nicely. Let me.
Oh,
everybody.
Pretty colors. Pretty colors.
You picked the colors and you did an
amazing
so
here's the thing, Sarah. If I had been picking out metal for that, I always default to warm tones. So I would have put copper with it. And I love the way the silver lets the beads really stand out.
I know. I think it's pretty. It's giving me like a nice modern vibe.
Yes. So I have got like just a couple of wraps in this spot here at the end. I don't know if my camera is like not focusing or if it's the connection, but
I don't know. Can you touch your screen and see if it helps it focus?
Let's see here.
Sometimes that'll just give it something to focus on, but
looks a little bit better there. But I will end the wire. You always want to trim it at the top of the bracelet so that you're not leaving scraps of ends of wire on the bottom to like dig into your wrist. And then you can even take your flat nose, like chain nose pliers, and just give a little bit of a tuck to that end so that it's pretty much seamless there. And then I'm cutting myself. I'm like about halfway through that bracelet almost, and I cut off a little extra. So I'm just going to cut another 2 feet to be safe. But you can make that determination based on however far you are in your bracelet, because you guys are all going to have different lengths to start with. And then again, I'm probably going to use a short end of my wire to start. And this spot's going to have a little extra wire because of our starting and stopping, but we're just going to breathe through it. It'll be okay. So I'm using that short end to just do a couple of wraps around. And then you've got, this is the long piece coming off over here that I'm like pulling on. So the short end, the start wire, you just have to be really careful you don't cut your other wires, and get in there and trim that. And then again, you can give that another little pinch with your pliers. And then take your fresh end of your wire, and because we're at a space between the stud and the tile bead, I'm going to feed on one of my 3mm. I have to get my tools out of my way here and start wrapping just like we were before. And those 3mm just cause enough of coverage along the top that when you're looking at the top, you can't even see the difference with how much wire is sitting here versus like some of the other spaces. So that's your magic trick to keep it from looking too bulky if you are doing something with your wire, like adding extra there or whatever. But that's just to be certain that you have all the wire you need to get through that bracelet, however long, however far you go. These colors, they're so funny.
Question. I have to see a couple questions Kristen asks, so when it's all done, does the final bracelet have a bangle feel due to the wire wrapping?
Absolutely. That was something I might have mentioned right at the beginning. So,
You could probably even do this as a bangle that fits over your hand, if you made it
yeah,
bigger.
because you could hide your crimp beads underneath of the wrapping
Mhm.
wherever you connect the two sides.
Yeah, you could probably make this into a really cool bangle for sure.
Fun. But yes, it does end up like if you look at there's a natural curve there that we won't flatten, and bend back and forth too much.
And Sandy was asking how much wire to the beads? What happens if you run out? How do you begin again? I think that's what you were just covering, but you started with 2 feet of wire each time.
Yep, and for my bracelet size, that's plenty after halfway through starting the second time to get through the whole bracelet.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through and I'm starting to get low on wire. So that kind of gives you an idea that 2 feet is going to get you pretty close to the middle.
Yeah.
And you'll see once you get to the middle, if you do 2 feet, if it's enough to finish off the next. If not, do a little bit more or a little bit less.
Exactly. Yep, that's what I was trying to explain, and I felt like I wasn't doing an excellent job of explaining that when you run out, if you pay attention to how much you add the first time, and then when you run out, pay attention to where you're at in the bracelet, that will give you an idea of whether you need more or less than you started with the first time.
Robin and I share a birthday. I saw her say earlier. So happy early birthday,
Aww.
Robin. Probably won't get to talk with you next week. And it sounds like it is also Grandparents' Day at her granddaughter's school. So I imagine that's what you'll be doing, which is exciting. Very fun. Maria wanted to know, what is your bracelet size or your wrist size?
Oh, let me grab a tape measure because I forget from time to time when people ask me.
I know.
I definitely never give a bracelet size because that is so inconsistent based on the thickness of the beads that that's not a measurement that I use. But my wrist itself is like a comfortable 6.5 when I hold the tape measure around it, like without pulling too tight.
And I think I was one less, and I feel like mine's about 6 inches.
Oh, perfect. So people can kind of get a feel for, I mean, because the beads are 6 millimeters, that's like,
it's definitely the one thing I'm worried about with giving out jewelry next week is, some of them are bracelets, and bracelets are, they're made probably to fit my wrist because I was making it. So sometimes they might be a little bigger. I tried not to do any that were too tiny. Sometimes I end up making something small because I'm demonstrating and I don't end up finishing the whole thing.
So it's like a doll bracelet.
Like a doll bracelet. Yeah, I didn't put any of the doll bracelets in, but anything that would fit me, I went ahead and threw it in, and hopefully it fits most of the people that they end up with, or they have someone in their life that it'll work for.
So, Sarah, do you know the reference when I say I want to say it's from Steel Magnolias. One of the characters says, "As you can see, my wrist is quite small."
No, I haven't seen that movie in like years. That's an old movie, right?
It is. So when we have this dear customer that when she's just like being silly about something, my mom has a pretty small wrist, so she's usually teasing my mom, and she'll make that reference to the movie and say, "Well, as you can see, my wrist is quite small." And of course, I'm doing a terrible Southern accent, but that's what that's supposed to be.
You could brush up on that, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm at the point where I flubbed and left that seed bead out. So I'm hoping that this wire wrap will cover that enough to not make it so
I
obvious.
think it will. I don't think anyone will even notice.
Fingers crossed.
That's the nice part of doing a project like this.
Hi, Maria. See some of my regulars on here.
I know. Maria says, what is considered small for a wrist size? Ooh, I don't know.
For us in the store, it's not a number. We have 3 different designers who we happen to carry their jewelry because they teach for us. And it's myself and my mom and our friend Abigail. And we all just happen to make our bracelets. Like my mom makes the smallest bracelets. And then Abigail makes the biggest bracelets. And mine are like in between. So that's the only thing I am commenting on is like the difference between our 3 wrists.
I see.
It's just like when people come in and ask for men's jewelry periodically, I tell them, well, I don't assign gender to my jewelry.
Oh,
you know, I realize they're asking for something that's maybe got darker colors or stones or leather. You know, there's like this stigma about men's jewelry, but you know, I don't really feel like you have to like fit into this like box of this is how you have to look, right?
Yeah. You know, one of the things that Andrew pointed out last fall to me, and actually my coworker James also pointed out, is a lot of men are wearing pearls. And
yeah, it's a thing right now.
I could not see it. Like I saw so many times where young men especially were wearing these beautiful strands of pearls, and it's, you know, totally unusual from the past,
right?
But it's why not, you know?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be specific to ladies? And maybe they are what's the word I'm looking for? Embracing, you know, that more feminine vibe, and that's okay too. Like,
yeah, I also know of some that it was specific to, you know, just like, you know, previously a lot of women are, you know, given family heirlooms like pearl necklaces from their, you know, parents or grandparents, but that's something that was happening. Young men were, you know, starting to also participate in that. And even my nephew makes a ton of jewelry when he's visiting us. He works in fashion, and he was stringing up pearl or like even the glass pearls in like necklaces and bracelets and wearing them with other stones and things too.
Oh, cool.
So definitely a thing right now.
I love that. Anything can be for anybody if they want to wear it.
Yeah. Nobody mind me over here. I'm just adding more wire.
Are you?
I ran out. I miscalculated on my second half of my bracelet.
I'm on my second piece, so let me.
I don't think I was quite halfway, and I had stopped short with my wire.
Oh, right. True.
Your colors with the silver wire just look so good.
It's looking pretty good. I really like this design a lot. It's really, really fantastic. Let me do a time check. What time are we at? Oh, 4:11. I got to get going here pretty soon. As
that
much
was
as
part of the reason I covered the starting and stopping. I wanted to make sure and not over for you.
I wish I could stay forever, but I have to go to this gosh darn softball game. Soon it will be over. And then
is the product that we've gotten to you thus far.
So pretty. I love those colors, are so good together.
I will get a better like daylight photo.
Yes, please do. Me too.
Yeah, and share them in all the groups.
Yeah, for sure. That looks great. I'm going to come up to our faces as well. I love the bead view. Beads to live by. Bead view.
Bead view, yes.
Yeah.
My little dish that I brought home.
Well, thank you, Cassandra, for the really fun design. I'm excited to work on mine some more and get that done. And then everybody be looking out for jewelry designs going out in your orders next week. I'm really excited to be able to share some of them with you. And I hope you have a wonderful week next week while I'm gone. Don't forget, we have a live sale still going on through tomorrow, Thursday night at midnight. So you can still place your order. There's lots of things where we had multiples, and there's probably plenty of beads left. If you want to go and haven't been to it yet, you can watch it on replay. If you have watched and you want to replay it as well, please do. There were lots of really fantastic things yesterday. I was kind of blown away by the show that Rosa put together. Lots of new beads from Tucson finally made it into the show. So that was exciting. I was really into those African brass pieces. We discovered afterwards, Kristen looked it up, and the one that Rosa had marked as a scorpion. So I think she heard me go, lobster? And I looked at it and I just accepted it at face value because I was like, well, Rosa must know. But no,
Lobster?
It's not a lobster. It's a scorpion.
A vicious lobster.
Yes, which has a different kind of meaning, a lobster charm versus a scorpion charm. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew that as well. Every order goes home with a free bead mix. So you'll get a little free gift no matter what if you order, and especially made by Rosa. And yeah, Kristen will be back on Monday. She'll be doing her free spirit beading next Monday. And what do you have going on, Cassandra? Anything?
Well, I did answer one question. Marcy was asking about the availability of the pyramid or the stud beads. And you see 4 colors there because we just started doing the subscription in January of this year. So every month after the subscriptions have been shipped out to the subscribers, then those beads become available. What's left, the bottom of the barrel of the beads is available, becomes available to the public. So January, February, March, April are all listed right now. And then we'll have new colors every month with those subscriptions with the other 2-hole beads. So like the color I'm using today, you can get delivered after May 18th if you subscribe to the 2-hole collection before the 18th, like the 17th or earlier.
Very cool. So you can find all the information for that on Cassandra's website, which I'm going to guess Thomas has already been posting links to.
Highlighted it.
Oh, it's Damien today. Hi, Damien, in the background. I didn't even have a chance to look down and see who's back there. Damien's been posting links for us, and you can check that out and maybe get on her subscription list. And here is the full website as well. Kristen's asking about your necklace. We covered it at the beginning, Kristen, because I had the same reaction. It's the first design she made on the bead cruise with Sherry Serafini. Sherry Serafini. I'm like, I know it's on the top of my tongue.
That's okay.
Which is a really fantastic bead artist. So it's very pretty. If you want to see that design up close, you can always replay this video and see it at the beginning. Oh, I think other people were thinking it was Thomas in the background too.
Well, I would like to point out at the beginning of the video, I think while you were in the other room, I started to reference somebody else, and I said the Softflex magician in the background because I knew I was not certain who it was that was there.
Yes, yeah. It looks like they switched midstream. That's what confused me.
Oh,
He
okay. So
left
they're
to
just
take
playing
his
tricks on us
little kid
now.
to dance. We're all juggling over at Softflex Company. We've got kids and dogs and roofers next door. We've got all sorts of things going on.
Yeah, you
We
guys
somehow make it work.
have a lot going on there.
We do. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. And of course, you can find out more about my company at softflexcompany.com. I'm trying to think what our deal is this week. I think you get $10 off your order if you have one of the kits in your order. So on orders over $59. So we have our Under the Sea kit, and we have our mermaid jewelry making party kit, which Cassandra is one of the designers for that jewelry making party. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's coming up in June. It's Cassandra and Trisha. We have Deb, and I believe it's Wendy. All 4 designers will be making some beautiful jewelry using that kit. I can see a little face poking in back there. I mean, on my screen, not your screen. So go get your kit now and then come have a beautiful party with us in June and see what Cassandra ends up making with it. You'll need to get our kit, and then you'll need to get the kit at Jesse James Beads, and you'll use the coupon code KIT, K-I-T, to get that $10 off your order. So basically $10 off your kit, which makes it super duper affordable. All right, so that's it for me. You can find that at softflexcompany.com. And of course, you can learn more about Cassandra at beadstoliveby.com. Thank you for being here, Cassandra. You are the best.
Aw, thank you so much, Sarah. And I saw everyone's love for the bracelet and us. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Okay, bye, everybody.